Good morning, Kenya. It is the third day of the IEK Convention, and maybe just to give you a recap of the past 2 days. On the first day, we had engineers, or rather the new entrants into the market, were being guided and were being mentored. Yesterday, we were talking about gender and how it comes to play in engineering. And today, we have with us Engineer Matu, who is going to be telling us some of the things that are affecting the sector. Engineer Matu, you are one of the committee members who is in charge of registration and compliance. If you could just tell us, how does compliance come into play, especially in the sector?
Yeah, thank you very much. Compliance is very important in the building sector. Not only building, bridges, anything that you do, because we have set standards, we have set rules, regulations, and if they are not followed, then we cannot guarantee that we are going to have a quality product at the end of the day, especially for buildings.
And engineer, we were just talking a few minutes ago about how it is very important when you were making during the permit system that we ensure all these things go very smoothly. And how does corruption come into play, especially here?
I think all I can say is that corruption plays a very big part. And corruption is in every part of the approval system. And this is where we have problems and big problems. It is one of the issues that actually has brought us where we are today. Because if we talk about the engineers themselves, we know they are well trained. We know they are professional because we have taken them through the system of interviews, exams, and they have passed with flying colors. And therefore, it's not a question of whether they can design or they cannot design. We know they can actually design. But we are believing there are some shortcuts which are being done in various approval stages. And what I can say, and what I've heard out there, is that there are some technicians, there are some graduate engineers who are not qualified to be professional engineers, and the developers have found an easier way of getting to these people and paying little money and getting designs which are basically not well done. And they have gone to an extent of even going to the professional engineer and approaching the professional engineer to simply give them a stamp without even reviewing the designs which he has been given by those technicians. So it is a cartel, and this cartel, we must try to get to the bottom of it. We must appeal to anybody who is involved in this to know that lives are getting lost. Losing a life, even if it is one, is a very, very serious matter. It doesn't matter how much money you are getting out of it, but you must first of all think about that, the loss of life, because you can get your money, but if 2 or 3 people are dying, I think you should ask God really for forgiveness. It is a very serious matter.
Engineer Matu, you were talking about a multi-sectoral approach and how other players within the sector must be helping or engaging with you. Let's talk about the manufacturing sector for a moment. How do they abate, or how do they help in making these things even possible in the first place?
Manufacturing sector in Kenya is very, very important because really we rely on the materials that they manufacture. And in Kenya, we want more and more manufacturing done. Really, more people should get into manufacturing so that we can actually employ our people, because that is the sector that really can employ most of us Kenyans. But of course, we have seen that there are some shortcuts as well, whereby those people who produce steel, sometimes if you want a 12mm bar, and if you go and measure it, you find that it could be 11mm or even 10mm, you know. And the design engineer uses the 12 millimeter to come up with his design. And therefore, when that diameter of the bar is reduced, then we are saying that we are not getting the actual strength that you really required. So that also can be a contributing factor. And therefore, we ask manufacturers really to comply as well with the set standards, because they are all standards which are set for manufacturing purpose. And therefore, let them go ahead and do the correct thing. And then, of course, when we have concrete aggregates, the ballast itself, some manufacturers or the people who crush aggregates may crush aggregates which are not strong enough. The stone itself is not that solid enough. And these ones needs to be taken for testing before they are even incorporated into the works. And that is another area which also could bring problems.
Thank you very much, Engineer Matu. And he's speaking about how the manufacturing sector comes into play, especially in ensuring that we avoid building mishaps that we've been finding. And